Well, hello, boys and girls. Does anybody come over to be with Old Mac? Or is he going to run the show all by himself? There we go. Well, let me see if I can start the show off right today. I know there's somebody loves me out there, so let me go. Let me try this right here. Um, going to try something. This is a this is a sad but true story about a young woman that met me way down in old Mexico, and she can't get across the border, but she sent me a song, and she's missing me very much. So, and she loves riding on my Harley. So let's get this thing kicked off here. There we
Soy solo un jovencito, vi el programa de café en YouTube. Quiero irme a Estados Unidos y trabajar para el rancho.
Hello, Rob's neighbor. Hello, I think Connie came over here. Yeah, Rob's neighbor, Adventure Key Fob, and a slew of those. Oh, Crystal Miller. Hello and good morning.
Old Mac, oh, Old Mac, ganó dinero. Oh, Old Mac,
She loves me.
Old Mac, ganó dinero. Oh, Old Mac, oh, Old Mac, ganó dinero. Old Mac es un motociclista Harley Davidson. Él es un motociclista Harley Davidson. Oh, Old Mac. Oh,
Oh yeah, Rob, she loves me. But I think she likes my. You notice what she is saying there? She says, "Old Mac has got mucho dinero."
oh, Old Mac. Oh, ganó dinero. Old Mac es un motociclista Harley Davidson.
Harley Davidson.
Es un motociclista Harley Davidson. Oh, Old Mac. Oh,
You have to have a certain amount of ego to do a song dedicated just to you.
oh, Old Mac. Oh, Old Mac. Ganó dinero.
You know, if I got with her, I wouldn't have enough money to go ride my Harley. You know, you'd be spending, buying drinks and going out and having fun with the young senorita. No Harley riding. I would be worse off.
Ganó.
Okay, all right. Let's see if we can. Oh, let me see if I can figure out how to turn her off over here. I think we've heard enough of that. Hang on just for a second. Okay, can you hear me now? Golly, we have we have issues with our internet. Did you see me? I just almost blanked out there. Yeah, during the period of time yesterday when we was having trouble with the internet, Angelique and we set up a private. I sent the link only to her in a private message, and then she was able to sit on her phone and critique how my presentation went. And so she could tell me if she could hear the music or the voice or whatever. So I got a lot of control here, but a lot of things I didn't know how to use. So I thought, well, since the weather was bad yesterday, we'll do a closed caption thing and learn how to use the buttons on the control panel. Haven't learned how to use all of them yet, but at least we know how to use those. Let me see. Yeah, we saw Key Fob in here. Crystal Miller, good morning. I think I've said good morning to everybody so far. I'm really happy you came over and joined us. Moto, he has to go out and make a living. So old guys like me is drawing a pension can keep getting a pension. Uh, the weather was horrible yesterday. I tried two different counties to get my star ID. I started out in Cullman County, and they was 60 people ahead of me. Then we went to Blount County, couldn't even get in. Um, we headed to Walker County when we decided to quit because I don't really need the star ID. I just wanted it. But well, after May the 7th, when the deadline is, somewhere after that, I will give it another shot. Because I just don't want to be traveling somewhere and have a some little bootleg lawman pull me over and give me a bunch of ration of crap about not having a star on my driver's license. I don't want to be deported. Now, I wouldn't mind going to Guantanamo. I mean, they serve probably a lot of Mexican food down there, and I like Mexican food. Probably have beans and tortillas for breakfast, and enchiladas for lunch, and mucho fruit. A lot of probably a lot of beans for supper. Well, we got hot weather coming by the end of the week. Well, it's going to be hot tomorrow. We're going to go riding Saturday. Today, more rainstorms are predicted for the day, but yeah, we're going to go riding Saturday. And yeah, did you like my little picture? My little picture of on my Old Mac web page up there, the two yellow signs that said "Crooked Road Ahead." That's what we wrote on when we was up there riding that last video we made. It's called the Snake Way. I don't know why they call it the Snake Way, but it's a windy, twisty little road up the side of a mountain. Yeah, I like that, Crystal. Yeah. Beans, a musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. In fact, you ain't gonna believe this. I've got proof of it because I have a recording of it. There's a recording of Dean Martin, an old entertainer. You remember Dean Martin used to be with Jerry Lewis, but he was a singer. He did a song called Butterbean, and I use that song of a Dean Martin song, Butterbean, in one of my videos. Yeah. They, I was raised on butter beans and, still love them today. Butter beans and cornbread and big old slice of onion and you didn't need much more fried taters. Oh my god, a pan full of fried taters. You had everything life needed. In the summertime when the tomatoes gets ripe, have a bacon and lettuce and tomato sandwich. Oh, glass of sweet tea. Life is good. Onion is so good. One time I was over there when I was a truck driver. I was down in South Georgia and the Valdos Valdolias, is that what they call them? Yeah, the good onions, the big old sweet onion Valdolia. Anyhow, they were selling them on the side of the road. Hey, 2-4, you're going to be my vice president when I take over this operation. 2-4 is going to be sitting right next to me, buddy. He's going to be the guy that pops the top on my beer. He's going to be my beer master. Anyhow, I bought a bag of Vidalia. That's it. I bought a bag of Vidalia onions. Oh hell, we eat like a king after a while. Hey, sick. I'm happy you come over and joined us there. I got to figure out how to get it where we can split the screen and have two of us on here. Hey, Sterling Will. Uh, let me see here. I think Buck Brown. He's up in Virginia, up close. No, he's quite a ways away from Motorbomb, but Motorbomb is working today anyhow. Yeah, I hope no, the day's the last of the rainy. It looks like it's going to be good uh, until about sometimes next week. But here in the southeast, when it's in the 80s and you got this much moisture in the air, I mean, it could be a tornado in a heartbeat. Oh, I need to send out an invitation. I guess I have to figure out how to do that. Oh, I see. Well, I got it under public. It's open for the public. When I'm setting up the page, I probably need to send out a list. Well, I'm not using StreamYard. I'm just using YouTube. But I think on YouTube you can share it with somebody. Yeah, I believe that's how you. I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah. I see what you do. If I want to share this with split the screen or how I'd have to share it with somebody. I'll work it out. Figure out how to do that. Yeah, you got to do that before you start your show. You set it up and send out somebody an invite. Tornado. Well, I will tell you, we had an EF5. Here's what happened to us on April the 27th. 2011. At 5 o'clock in the morning, an EF4 came and tore down all the TVA power lines, all of them. My lines here was laying. They had power. They had no power, but they were still standing up at 5 in the morning, but no power. We didn't have any power for 28 days because I'm on TVA. But what happened at 5:20 in the afternoon on April the 27th, the second tornado came to my house, and it was an EF5, and it took all my power poles and laid them on the ground. I got out in front of my house on the county road, 14,400 volt lines, and it laid all the 14,400 volt lines over on the side, and it was quite a mess. Lost a lot of people. The storm that came to my house at 5, it killed 68 people before it got to me. It didn't get me, of course, but it got my cousin's house, 3-story brick home. When I was looking at it, her house was already in the tornado. She's only a quarter of a mile from me, but her debris of her house landed 2 miles from my house over on County Road 35. It just dumped it all down, scattered it out over a 3-mile area, and including all of her lawn. It pulled all the lawn up off the yard, pulled all the lawn up. She was in the basement, in a bathroom in the basement, and it pulled her up off the floor, and she held on to the ring on the toilet. Then a brick hit her in the head, knocked her in the head, and that's the last thing she remembers. But somewhere during that period of time while she was floating in the air, it let go and dropped her down to the floor of the basement. And her husband and son was in the storm cellar. When they come out, the dad was telling the 12-year-old son that mom was gone. And the little boy said, "I can see mama." He said, "Well, you will see mama again when the time comes." And he said, "No, Daddy, I see mama now." And they looked, and she was standing in the middle of the county road over there with blood all over her, but the house was gone. And whoa, what a miracle! I went over and interviewed her the next day. I took the camera and talked to her and the family, and uh, that was pretty tragic. You want to come in and say hello to everybody? Angelique just came in. I was telling these fine folks that you just came into the room is the reason I was asking. Did you want to come in? Your baby's over there. Bring him over. Let me hold him for a minute. Uh, he just woke up. Look at it. Hey, little buddy. Uh, he's oh yeah. Well, you got to keep in mind storms have been around forever. Tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes. It's you see these people. They all get all worked up over a tornado or an earthquake, and they'll say, "It's just God coming to get us because we're so mean and we deserve it." No, that kind of stuff has been going on forever. That's just the way that's just the way it works. People get all worked up over things like that. Well, in Washington State, they have an earthquake that's coming. It's called Cascadia, and it's going to be like 9 on the Richter scale. When it does, it's like 150 years overdue. And because if you ever lived in the Pacific Northwest, everywhere you look, there's a lot of volcanic flow, a lot of lava beds, like in the eastern Washington, especially when you get over in what's called central Washington, you see just mile after mile of lava beds from all the different volcanoes over the years. But Cascadia is when the offshore plate is sliding under a plate that's actually going to trigger off the Caldera there at Yellowstone. That's what they're talking about. That's all part of Cascadia. It's going to change the world as we know. If that does occur, America won't be the same. It has nothing about God getting even with us, or because that's the dumbest thing you could ever think is God would do something like that just to get even with us because of our behavior. God, oh my, people get all hooked up on stuff. Hey, Miss Red Lady. There you go. I mean, there's your baby. And my dog just mysteriously floated away. You saw that. He just, whew, he was here 1 second, then he was gone. Back in the 90s, we were watching, I think the World Series when San Francisco was hit. We was watching the World Series, and when the bridges started collapsing there at San Francisco. Oh my gosh, that was something else. We've seen some pretty good size earthquakes in Washington State. Um, really tore the place up. We were doing a big project for the president of the United States called Star Wars, and we had everything set up, and we were making this laser alignment tool so we could use it in Star Wars. When that earthquake hit, it it took all of the alignment away. We spent 3 months trying to get the thing back realigned. just just in the I think 20 seconds of earthquake took us months to repair the damage. At Northridge, I remember the Northridge. We was in Ferndale, California, at my uncle's house at Ferndale, and then the house started shaking, and my brother and I and my uncle, we went out into his yard, and the yard was and it was hard to keep balanced. It was really an unusual. It was a pretty good little earthquake, and then he told us, he said, "Watch this water when it starts to rise up." And I guess it was a little bit of tsunami or whatever. The water came up where he was living, way up right to his back door, but that was it. We stood there and watched it. Yeah, we used to live right there real close to Merced, California. I used to go over at Castle Air Force Base. We had a job when we was working on that project up there called the YC-14. Um, we couldn't get space in Edwards Air Force Base. They didn't have any more rental space, so we worked out of Atwater for a little while. Atwater is right there at Merced, and I like that whole area up there. In fact, my sister lived in a little town right next to a town called Blueberry Hill. That's right close to Merced. Blueberry Hill, and a little town she lived in was called Denair. And yeah, we had some good times in Denair near Blueberry Hill. Oh wow. Earthquakes are scary. You know, a tornado, they give you a week's warning before it even gets to you. And then finally, when it gets to you, it's almost unbelievable. And here's an amazing thing: you can be right here, sitting in this house, and a tornado just 2 miles away, and you don't feel nothing. But when you live in an earthquake zone, whatever's happening 60 miles away, you feel the whole place shaking. it is unsettling to say the least. I think I'll take a tornado over an earthquake any day. I mean, there's a lot of I think we have an average of 50 something tornadoes a year in Alabama. I think 54 average. We've already had 30 already this year, and the tornado season is just getting started. Yeah, I love. Yeah, when we went down there, they was the B-52s had been out for a while, but they had the B-47 there. That was when it always took off of JATO, and the JATO rockets would leave a oh my god, appalling black smoke out of those B-47s. Now B-47 is a beautiful airplane, but it couldn't deliver the load that the B-52. So see, I when I was doing my military stuff, all the strategic air command, all your SAC bases, they had to have the capability of handling the B-52. And yeah, I think my favorite place, as far as beauty, I think Maelstrom Air Force Base in Great Falls, Montana, is probably the prettiest place I was ever stationed at. But as far as I like Knob Noster. That's Whiteman Air Force Base right there near Sedalia, Missouri. Oh, the B-47, one of my favorite planes. B-52 was I'm gonna tell you the one I really liked. I mean, I when I was a boy, 12 years old, my uncle gave me a Collins radio out of a B-29 bomber, and they has just upgraded this radio he gave me was from a B-36, and they upgraded when the first B-29s come out, they had the old B-36 style Rockwell International Collins radios in them, 24 volt. He gave me one of the old radios, 24 volt, and what happened there is the B-36 was still the head of Strategic Air Command, and I used to like to go down at 2 megahertz and listen to the guys that when they would speak, and you could hear a B-36 coming for a long time before you ever saw it. You heard it, and it just droned away. 6 big old pushing engines, and it had 4 jet engines. 6 are rolling and 4. Let's see, what was they there used to be a saying, 6 is stroking and 4 is smoking. Yeah, you had 4 jet engine on it, total of 10 engine on the thing on the B-36. It wasn't well, that was way back a long time ago, but my god, that was my first model to make, was a B-36 bomber, and then when the B-47 come out, I said, "Oh, my new love." Sterling Wheel, I got a question for Sterling Wheel. What is the nickname does the Air Force have for the B-52? This is just for Sterling. Does anybody know? You see his answer is buff is Buff. Do you know? Does anybody out there that knows what the buff stood for? Raise your hand. Come on, come on. Rob's neighbor, I bet he knows. Come on, sick. I'll give you. I'll give you a couple of the letter big, ugly, flying, and you can figure out what the last F stood for. Sterling Will, you're a whiz. I ain't kidding you. You know stuff. Yeah, they always name everything. We did we flying flamingo. We did a military project down at Swearingen Aircraft Company in San Antonio, Texas, and he made the Metro liner, a little 22 passenger twin turboprop engines. beautiful. Had a T-tail in the back, had triple redundancy, had a fairly good flying record. My friend he flew the Ed Swearingen, Metroliner for many years. Um, they call it the flying sewer pipe because it's long, straight fuselage. Some of them referred to it as the flying cigar. I worked on a plane that I worked on that I love other than the YC-14. I worked on the A-37 Dragonfly. I spent quite a bit of time on the A-37 Dragonfly. The A-37 Dragonfly is made by the Cessna Corporation. It comes out of what they call the Military Twin Division, Wichita, Kansas. And I really love that airplane. It's got a co-pilot set side by side, and it's like the A-10 Warthog. It can lift its weight in armament. It's a stout, screaming pair of little screaming engines that can lift a heavy load. It's great ground support aircraft, and I spent quite a bit of time on that one. And another one I really enjoyed was the C-5A Galaxy, not the C-5B. That's a whole new bird altogether. They've modeled and put new wing spars in it, but we were on the original C-5A, the C-5A Galaxy, and I was up on what they call the visor section, the nose that raises up for loading cargo. That's at Marietta, Georgia. That was a real good project. But the one we saw from the beginning to the end was the YC-14. We saw it when it was on the blueprint, and then we watched it come together, and we watched it fly in its first test. Oh my God, you've seen two C-130s. You saw them for real. You didn't just see a video of them. You saw them for real. That well, I think there was one over in Mississippi that crashed over there. An Air National Guard at Mississippi crashed a C-130. That was a horrible, I mean, terrible thing. Oh, he was a firefighter. Oh, well, we had a B-52 to crash up at Fairchild Air Force Base while we was up there. A B-52. He was one of them hot dog pilots. Crystal Miller. If he wanted us to fly, he'd give us feathers, right? He's already gave us a small brain. We got the bird brain, so all we need is them wings right now. I'm talking about me. Oh my God, that's got to be horrible. Well, that B-52 crash, he was a hot dog pilot. Man, this guy was he was one of them kind of guys that wanted to give at an air show the spectators a little something to go talking about that evening, and they did. They had something to talk about for many years. He crashed the B-52 at Fairchild Air Force Base in Spokane, Washington. Well, them you got to keep in mind them things. When I was on the C-5A, C-5A is at Marietta, Georgia, and Lockheed had made all those C-130s when we were there in 1968. In 1968, we went over there on the C-130 line, and they brought all these C-130s from Vietnam in '68 that had been in service over there, and they had bullet holes in the spars. They had bullet holes all over, and they was doing completely rebuild of these because it's good. They were still good operational aircraft, and some of them had bullet holes in the wing spars, and Yeah, and that one building, they was building the C5A, and that the C5A was built in a building that was too short, too low. They couldn't put the tail on it, so they had a separate building where the empennage would be added on to the C5A. They called it the cat house. That's where the C5A got its tail, was in the cat house. That's Air Force talk. You're a fatalist, Crystal. Well, I watched an air tanker fly its wings off here a couple of years ago when they had the big fires in California, and that's what happened there. They loaded the craft up, and then they flew the wings off, and the spar fatigue. You know, you have a situation with aluminum. If you bend it back and forth, if you bend it enough of times, it eventually will crack. If you draw a straight line on a spar with a pencil lead, you draw a line on that spar, it will break at that line. It creates a dividing line in the structure or something other, but they work hard and it ain't like steel or titanium. Aluminum, the fatigue sets in from the day you pour the aluminum spar until you start milling it and machining it. It has already started to decaying from the time you build it. Steel, of course, would corrode over a long period of time, but you couldn't fly that much steel. Well, Crystal, thank you for coming over and joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your life to come over and visit with Old Mac this morning. I wish I had something more entertaining to do to show you guys, but I don't. I'm looking around. I don't have anything. I don't have anything I can show that would be entertaining. I don't have any gadgets. Uh oh. Uh oh. Roll 'em, roll 'em, roll 'em. That's going to be Sterling Well right there. You're rolling down the big slab, down the super slab. Juniper Hill, California, near Topaz. Mm. We've had a lot of close calls. We got struck by lightning. We were we was up around 36,000 feet. Storms was too. It was too rugged where we was at, and so they brought us down to 19,000 feet. And on the way down to 19,000 feet, lightning struck us. And then we was just going over the city of Pocatello, Idaho. We had no lights on it. Everything was off. And of course, when they started the APU up in the back of on the tail back there, the auxiliary power unit, it started bringing up the generator, and the lights started coming back up down the middle of the cabin. A row of lights came on first, and then I heard a bunch of people mumbling. We was way back in the back. Heard people mumbling up towards the front, and as we got to looking up through there, we could see smoke. We go, "Oh, hell, we done been hit by lightning." And it was getting more and thicker smoke, more smoke, and then the mumbling got louder, and you could actually hear some praying going on, and like, "Hell, we're gonna be like fried rice, man. We're gonna be all burned up here." And then finally the captain come on and said, "Don't be alarmed, folks. That's only condensation. When we depressurize, come down, our unit is now pressurizing the fuselage, and that's causing like breath, like your breath, and it will stabilize in a few minutes." Well, that made everybody feel a lot better. I think the dreaded thought of being in the airplane is burning up alive. But, from what I hear, I don't know this to be a fact. A lot of burn victims, that people get burned up in the house, they usually die from the smoke long before they ever burn up. But I guess dead is dead. I got an eyebrow, it's standing up, look like Satan. Yeah, I do look like I got a sun porch, don't I? I have what's called a unibrow. I have to keep this plucked out here in the center because this whole damn thing just grows right straight across here. I look like I got a clown-like face. Rob's neighbor. Well, welcome back in. Sound effects. We got sound effects. Yeah, we got some sound effects over there. I know. Uh, yeah, and you try to explain them. They go, hell no, I know a guy. I know a guy that knows a fellow that lived next door to a fellow that knew a guy that lived in California that knew this fellow that was in the Air Force that was stationed in Guam, and he saw them put the chemicals in there. And I know for a fact they're poisonous like rats. Because that guy in Guam told his neighbor about the fellow that lived in California that told the guy that lived up there and read in California about the fellow down there in Reno that what I'm telling you is to be true. Because I know for a fact the guy in Guam knows what he's talking about. Uh, you never explain it to them. Like, oh yeah, but I mean, that you can't leave it up to the scientific people. They're going to try to tell you that's just condensation, but we know better. Because that guy in Guam, he saw him put it in the tank. It's rat poison. It makes your mind go sour. um, we learned real quick about YouTube about well, look at AI. When I've seen people get on and say, "I look at, I saw him say that on TV." No, you saw what you thought you saw on TV. You saw AI on TV and thought it was real. Oh, don't come up here showing off your big deck on this channel here, cause I can show you I got a big deck. I mean, I've had people to compliment me on just the size of my deck, and it's made of hard wood. Yeah, we know that. I remember the cloud seeding. Evil Rick, hello, buddy. Frogzilla. Frogzilla's all up in the house. Um, yeah, they when we lived over there in Wichita, we were stationed there for a while at Wichita, and they was doing seed. They was trying to bring up rain back in them days using chemicals to. I don't know how that works, but I didn't see any big storms come up from that. But I do know I know weather has been altered by a project called HARP. That's not just a rumor. What we did is purposely heated up the atmosphere to 10,000 degrees using radio frequency, radio waves. And we was able to move the jet stream. And once you start messing with Mother Nature, she's going to piss on you. I ain't kidding you. I was there. I lived there for 1 year in Wichita. I married a woman from Wichita. She went to the University of Wichita. No, she went to Wichita State, sorry. Um, I gotta say my year in Wichita was good. I didn't have no trouble. In Wichita, I lived up on Harry Street, up there in the Navy houses, you know, what they call the GSA homes, up on Harry Street. They may not even exist now. That was back in the '60s. Well, I was there just a little bit before you there, Evil, Rick. Um, yeah, we left there in, January of 1970. I was over there when Garden City was blown away, and, we were on the highway, we were driving, and we was heading towards it. They kept talking about the tornado at Garden City, and we drove right up on the garden. Oh my god, I ain't never seen anything like it before. It was like a bomb went off in Garden City, Kansas. Yeah, yeah, the bases, yeah, so much change. Look at I was stationed at Whiteman Air Force Base, and when we was there, it was a Strategic Air Command, and we was putting missiles in the ground in Missouri at that time. And today it's been changed up so much. I went and took a little tour on Google Earth at Whiteman Air Force Base. I tried to find where we lived, and our place doesn't even exist. They cleaned all that out. It was called GSA housing, or it used to be temporary officers' quarters. That's where it was situated at Whiteman Air Force Base. Now they've done away with all them old brick homes, them old wooden homes, and put in new, bigger and better homes, permanent homes. I was there when Warrensburg got blown away. Warrensburg, just 10 miles from Whiteman Air Force Base, killed a lot of people. Yeah, I went back to Castle Air Force Base on Google Earth. I was able to find the Merced River down there because I spent a lot of time on the Merced River out of Atwater. And yeah, everything, the roads are changed up. Some of the roads that used to be there don't exist anymore. They put, that Mendota, when they brought that Mendota Canal down through there, they changed everything when they run the canal. The Mendota thing, um, yeah, they had to change up a lot of the roads. Same way, oh my God. Well, yeah, that's right. We always call, trailer houses ground zero for tornadoes. I don't know, but they tend to seem to find them no matter where you got them. You better have it anchored down good. When we was, with the Minuteman crew, all of our trailers had big old 1-inch steel cables over the top of the trailer, and on each end of each cable that went across the trailer was a 55-gallon drum filled full of concrete, and that held our little houses down, when it was out there on the site. That's what kept our trailer from blowing away during tornadoes there in Missouri and up through, Kansas and various places wherever we put the missiles. We had what they call GSA trailers, and they made them pretty well tornado proof, so they wouldn't blow away. Oh, that's cool. That KC-135. Oh, yeah, there's one of them went down, up there in Montana, I believe it was. They had a refueling accident. KC-135. You had a good job. Um, Yeah, we stayed with Strategic Air Command for a long time, and, we went out on several missions. You have to take a one-year assignment when you go out, and, it was good times, it was bad times, you know. You'd get lonely, but, boy, the money was good. Ooh, made a lot of good money. Well, you got work to do, Rob. Well, just enjoy what you do. I'm gonna tell you this, in my 30 years dealing with the government on the work that I did, I enjoyed my work. I really did. We got to do a lot of things. We even got to go on cruises on an aircraft carrier. We got to go on submarines and wherever they had our software or hardware, we was there. I got to come to Redstone Arsenal, Whiteman Air Force Base, Maelstrom. We did both bases in San Antone. Was it Kelly and Lackland? Always wanted to go to Clark Field in Subic Bay or in the Philippines. Never got to go. Oh, that'd be something to get to go up and well, if you could watch if you was where the operators running the boom and stuff, that's got to be a really good job. What a great photo op, you know, to get pictures of some of our America's finest fighting machines coming up there to get a drink of water, getting a cool sip of water. Hey, retired rider. Good morning to you. I I, I noticed you was playing a tune, and it really befits you really good. I mean, you was going along and it really works out good for your video there. I was like Motorbomb with the chickens. That little tune that plays in the background there. Uh, that is so cool. And I was watching TV over here on YouTube on the big screen, and dang if I didn't run across one of my songs that I posted on YouTube. It showed up over here on my screen. So randomly it just popped up. I didn't look for it or nothing. I went, man, so that's how some of this stuff gets advertised. You just never know where it's going to show up. Somebody asked me yesterday about using I can't remember who it was, could they use my video or my audio for their video? And I said, hell, everything I do is yours, man. You just take it and do whatever you want to do with it. It is yours. To me, it's just fun doing. I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. I've got young bamboo growing up out there, and since it's been raining, I haven't been able to take care of. Now they're 4 or 5 foot tall out there, and I got to go down and break them all over. Yes, Evil Rick, I do use the paid version because there's a clause in YouTube about using when you monetize your channel. You know, they want you to use the paid version because all the copyrights and everything is safe. The legalese have been taken care of, um, so they never have any kind of an issue there. So that's the reason I went ahead and got the paid version. And I only bought the second level. I didn't, you know, there's 3 levels of it, and I went to the middle level there because it gives you a little bit more tools to experiment. I went and watched a video yesterday on how to change the octaves. I did not know how to, like you want to raise the voices up and on using your brackets and using your quotation marks and all that stuff. I knew how to use them, but I did not know about how to change the octaves and it's a straightforward narrative. You can put a bracket and dictate to Sumo how you want the music, how you want this, how you want to break it down to it's going to fit you. The tempo and all that stuff. I'm not musically inclined, but you learn so much by just reading this stuff on what you can and can't do. Well, how about doing it like this? When you go to your library, Evil, look at your library and take and cut and paste all the words. Bring up the song, and there's all the words that you put in the song that you like, but you want to add to it. Cut it and go over and start you a new song up. Start you a new song and then paste it. Do they allow you to do that in the non-commercial version or the non-paid version? If you can cut and paste, just cut your words into a new song and then add new words to it. Maybe change. You might want to change up the type of music or leave it the same. I do that all the time with mine. I cut and paste. I get a song and I realize I left out some things I really want to add to it. I edit it, I can use my editor or otherwise I can just cut and paste it and put it over and even use it in a different genre of music. Oh, I won't let you do that. I did well, I've only had the paid version. After I saw that I liked it, I went ahead and bought it that same day. So I can't give you much advice there, but I thought you'd be able to cut and paste anywhere. Just use your Microsoft. In other words, send it to yourself, send it to yourself, and then cut the words out of it, and save it, save it in a file where you can get to it, and then go start you a song and then go back into your computer and bring those words over into your new song and add to it. Hey, go fast. Go fast racing. Well, let me see if I can help out Go Fast over here. We don't want Go Fast to uh-oh. Oh, hmm, there we go. We finally got it right now. There you go. We finally found the right combination. Now Go Fast, you say anything. James Coates. Let me see. Let me fix James Coates up over here. We want everybody to feel at home. Want nobody to feel left out. You got all the power now. Oh, yeah. Go Fast, Saddleback Park. We did a lot of dirt bike racing, flat track, motocross. Oh man, we got involved in 1970 back in the early days of motocrossing. Motocross racing. We did a lot of desert stuff in the early years over at Mendota and Fireball up in the Panoche Range, the coastal range in California. Now they got it where it's like a super show. You've got guys that they make a living at doing that, not only motocross riding, but putting on these spectacular jumps and it's amazing. I started my first big bike to ride was in 1956. I lived in the Mojave Desert, and it was a 900cc Harley Davidson. And the guy that was next door to me, he showed me how to shift it and stuff. And so he got me on it. He said, "Go up there and go through all four gears. When you get up where you go and turn around and come back and go through all four gears and then gear down. And when you come to a stop, I want you to be in first gear when you come to a stop right here." And that was my lesson I had for riding a bike. And yeah, we bought some good dirt bikes when I was stationed over there in Wichita. I bought a Montesa. I bought it over in Wichita, the city of Wichita, a Montesa that came with a spare cylinder and piston. Because back in them days, you could burn them pretty easy if you didn't get your fuel oil mixture right. And that Montesa had a beautiful expansion chamber and a really great little stinger on the end of it. And oh, it turned up. It felt like he was going really, it sounded like he was going really, really fast. When it came up on the pipe, it was beautiful sounding. Yeah, the Mojave, I love that. We were just in Mojave last year. We took a trip up to. I was in the town of Mojave. We went down. We had lunch in Mojave, and now they got all the windmill farms all up through there. But we had some project we used to do down in the city of Mojave at the air base there, and so I got a lot of good background with Mojave. Lived out at Boron, which is out by the borax mines, 20 Mule Team Borax. Yeah, I used to run this what's called blends oil, and I'd had guys when we was racing on the track, they'd come over and they go, "Man, what are you running in that engine? That smell is delicious." They it had quite a nice smell to it, when it burned off and, yeah, people are still using it. I did not even know. I've been out of it for so long time ago that's what we mixed and it done us good. I bought a Bataco 250 up there up in Washington State, and I mixed the fuel up for, my kid, and I told him, I said, "When this 5 gallons is used up now, you let me know, and I'll mix you up another one." When they run that 5 gallon up, they siphon gas out of I had a Volkswagen Beetle, Super Beetle. They siphon the gas out of the Volkswagen Super Beetle and put it right in the Bataco and run it to the engine seized up. Uh, they had fun while it lasted. Oh, yeah, you could back in the 2 cycle days, I tell you another one we ran we was doing go-karting. We used to race go-karts in California, and I had a pair of twin McCulloughs, and these twin McCulloughs, we run them on fuel. We used to buy the fuel back in the days, that would be in the '60s. I think fuel was like 5 or $6 a gallon for racing fuel. It was, a methanol. And, we learned one thing, you could not pour methanol into a styrofoam cup. It would just dissolve the cup immediately. Right in your hand, it'd go. and, we'd run the twin McCullochs on that methanol. We had a blend that we mixed up, and, uh, and it was during the days when you had to bump start them. That's why you did it. Um, they didn't have the starter where you reach over with the electric thing, and, that was a pair of, McCullochs, it was an awesome in fact, I raced my brother-in-law had a Oldsmobile car, and we raced. I 8th mile race in that cart, had no trouble beating that Oldsmobile. It was fast. Yep, we run the max, we raced a lot of, interesting people back during that time, we love that race. We like kart racing. We lived just 6 miles out of Chowchilla, California, so we had all the county roads out there that we could test on, and oh, I bet so. I just watched last night on Cars and Cameras. They went over to Texas to a racetrack where that's a pull start thing, and they had all kinds of machines over there that they raced, on Cars and Cameras over there, but it reminds me of the days when we used to do that stuff. We'd gather up, and it'd be everybody would drag everything they could drag into the park, and oh, yeah, it's at Riverside. See, we used to come to Riverside and go up on Big Bear. From Riverside, we'd go up all the way up to Big Bear, and, yeah, we've got a lot of time, and we there used to be a place there before you get to Riverside called Industrial City, and we had a base of operation out of Industrial City. We'd come up and set up. It was our like a clandestine meeting place, in Industrial City, and we'd all land there. We'd land somewhere, wherever they brought us into, and we'd make it out to Industrial City, and then from there, we'd branch out from Industrial City all the way over to Phoenix. We covered everything there was to be covered. See, we used to have a lot of shops around the nation that worked for military contracts that did, parts for the military, and, so, yeah, we spent a lot of time down in that part of the state. Really, really liked it. Yeah, last year, last on 2024 there in November, December, we went up to Washington State from Alabama, and we went down to Mojave, and I took Angelique down to Edwards Air Force Base and took her out to Calico Ghost Town at Barstow. We went out there and had a cold beer in Calico. It was really delicious. Now that was the summer of 2023 when we went to Calico. Last year, we didn't go to Calico. We did go to Mojave last year because we was there in the wintertime. Well, my cup has now finally ran out. Excuse me. Oh, that's one of the things that, traveling with the group that we did travel with, places that we went, it was all of us had the same kind of interest. All of us like racing, and all them Air Force jocks, they got mechanics, all that. That's all they lived and breathed as, I bought 2 crotch rockets. The first one, I bought a Honda, four-cylinder Honda, and my neighbor, he loved it so much, I bought the only one that was available, and he couldn't get another one. He wanted that one so bad, I sold it to him. And hello, Miss Nona Grace. Good morning, Miss Nona Grace. I'm hoping that all is well with you and the chickens. While I hear the train a coming. I think you guys can hear that. Yep. Oh, nice. Well, you got family members close by, so you can get to visit with the family. And all of our family is somewhere else. Well, at the look of the clock on the wall up there, let me see. Well, yeah, we've been on for an hour and 11 minutes. So, um, oh, there's Robin. I didn't see Robin up there. Oh, I was sitting here and I didn't even see Robin. But I saw Frogzilla recognize Robin, and I said, "Where is Robin?" And I got to looking up through there, and well, you get busy talking. The sick, and everybody knows when you're running a show, you get so busy doing this stuff here that you forget to look over there. At least I do. Yeah, that's right. You're in New York. You're in Western New York. We've still got an hour to go here. I had a big breakfast this morning: bacon, scrambled eggs. I had an English muffin and Concord grape jelly. Angelique asked me an interesting question today. She said, "What's the difference between grape jelly and grape jam?" And I said, "The consistency of the jam has more pulp in it, and then like like blackberry jam, you get the berries and everything." I said, "But like blackberry jelly, you'd only get the liquid, not the seeds, the pulp." And she said, "I never knew the difference." And she just thought today would be a good time to ask the question. Well, no, I don't want you to feel bad at me. We're getting out of here just because you come in, but the evil Rick, he's got things he's got to do. And I'm fixing lunch today, and she came by a while ago with the little puppy. In fact, I can't. Okay, he's over there on the couch asleep. I don't think I can. I can show. No, I can't. He's uh he's over there asleep. Let me see. Maybe I might be able to look right here. Yeah, look right here. There's my little buddy right there. Hey, thank you, Sick, for coming over. And by the way, the little fellow laying there asleep, uh, his name. Yeah, look at him. He heard me talking about him. That's Colton. He's a sweet little 14-year-old fella. Um, he was raised by a military guy. Oh, I will. I'm sorry, Evil. In fact, let me see. I don't know if I've even turned my phone on this morning. No, I haven't. Not turned my phone on. I'll check it out when I sign off here. She wants me to come in and start fixing lunch. She made a good breakfast, so I think it's only right that if I go in and fix the lunch today. We eat out so much here, and it's really a pleasure to cook and make your own food and stuff. But we're always on the go. Um, that's the reason I'm gonna probably live forever because I'm just too busy to take time off to die. We'll have to put that off to later. So, with that, we'll say good morning to each and every one of you, and y'all have a great day. You got a good weekend coming up. We had a no, I believe you did. You did. You saw our going up the crooked road there, and I gave you a shout out there because you're really special with your chickens. You and Jim, you have so much riding under your belt, and you've been on probably many a crooked road. And that crooked road right there, buddy, it was a fun road to ride on. And I'm just glad we got a chance to capture it. And so, with that, everybody have a great day out there. Robin, you try your best to be as good as you can be. I know I'm asking a lot. You're a good guy, and maybe you and I are the only two guys that know that. I will play your song one of these days when I get a couple of drinks under my belt. I'll play the song that I wrote just specially for Nubbin. God bless you. Have a good day. Bye bye, folks.